So I could say this now that I'm older.
Yeah.
When you're young, it's hard to see the bigger picture and to forgive people for the mistakes that they made. But when you get older and you start seeing the situation, or you talk to people like we're talking, and you understand the background, then maybe you might have forgive people but you can move forward from it. You know, so
I'm
something.
kind of learning that right now.
Yeah, so very much so. And I'll give you an example of a mistake that I made, and it goes with this. I talk about him all the time on all my podcasts. My dad, he just passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He died maybe a year ago, or maybe a little less than a year ago. And we grew up, like I said, they abandoned me many times and stayed homeless. He was real abusive and a lot of bad stuff, you know. And when we got older, he humbled down. I make a joke with my kids. They say, your Popo is so nice. I say, well, he was nice because he wasted all his anger and mean on me. You know what I mean? And he had none left. But when I was getting older, I couldn't forgive my parents for what they did to me. And any little thing that they would do, I would hold it against them. And I probably went 10, 15 years without talking to my parents. And then I started talking to them, and then we got in an argument, and then I probably went another 10 years. So like in the last 20 years before my dad passed away, I probably only spent 2 or 3 of those years with him. And, you know, that was a mistake that I made for not forgiving him and moving forward with, and it's a regret that I have.
I was going to ask you, is that something
I regret it traumatically. I can remember the day. So I went like 5 years, 6 years without talking to him. We used to live with him down the road here, and we got in a big argument. And just long story short, I went 6 years without talking to him, and my mom had a heart attack. So they lived in Ohio, so I flew to Ohio to go see them. And I didn't tell nobody I was coming because I hadn't seen them in so long. It was kind of awkward, you know? So I will pull up to their house, and I remember I didn't go to the door. I banged on his window, and he came outside like, who the fuck's banging on my window? Right. And he saw him.
Your SIDS is
and
gosh.
But, you know, I hadn't talked to him in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And he comes around the corner, and he starts to like do these little faces and stuff. And he was like, saw me point. He was like, he pointed at me, started crying and stuff. And, you know, he told me, I thought I really messed up that time. I thought I really messed up. And, you know, he apologized to me.
Wow.
And I apologized to him. And we stayed close until the day he died.
Oh.
You know, not to get too much into my story.
No, does your father have trauma too?
He did. Yeah. So
it's an ongoing circle.
It gets, so like, it's weird. So like when I hear my parents, so I can tell you, I talk about my kids, the shit that happened to me. Sure. And it sounds crazy to them. Well, they used to tell me the same thing. Like my dad used to drink out of a creek and stuff like that. He was never taken care of. He was like, we had water hoses. We used to drink out the water hose. He wasn't allowed to touch that. He had to drink out of a creek. He slept in barns with the animals and, you know, all that stuff. So, I believe that it gets passed down, it gets passed down. It's just up to someone to be the change, the change into that system instead of passing it down to your family. Like, you could have kids, and if one day if you have kids, you don't want to pass down the trauma that you felt. You know how it feels. Yeah. And something that you should have, and something that I try to breed in children, is confidence. If you don't have confidence, your life is very bad. And when you have traumatic events like what happened to you, something that you could really lose is your confidence. Yeah. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, you're 100% correct.
So like, that's why I always say, since I've been talking to you, I tell you how good you are. It's just because you are good. And I didn't know your personal story, but I know that feeding people's confidence and showing people how good they are when maybe they don't know it is something I always try to do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.